today a better understanding of continuous withering systems. There's quite a bit of debate and discussion happening in this industry today on the transition and transformation from conventional withering to continuous withering. And I'm speaking today to alleviate some concerns, mitigate some risk on this transition, this transformation. In our interactions with the people in the tea fraternity, we find that there are people. So in my interactions with the tea fraternity, we've experienced and come across people from all ends of the spectrum. There are tea producers and brokers who tell us that this is the single best technology that is available in the industry today. I've also heard conversations from tea tasters and tea consultants telling me that this business on continuous withering does not make sense. I mean, we're not getting the right withers, we're not producing the right quality of teas. I'm also hearing conversations from people in the trade saying that yes, this technology reduces cost of labor, it reduces cost of power, so as far as the cost of production is concerned, there is a benefit in adopting and integrating this technology. But on the flip side, the quality of tea is not the same as conventional chops. And then, there are people who are sitting on the fence and just watching and wanting to know what's going on. So my presentation today will unlock some value. I will share some insights, some perspectives on where this industry is today on continuous withering. And the content that I've put together is something that I have picked up in my travels to more than 30 tea producing countries globally. There are about 36 countries in the world that produce tea, and I've had a very unique and privileged to have traveled to more than 30 of those 36 countries. So I've interacted with the tea producers, I've interacted with the tea brokers, I've interacted with tea research from Argentina to Japan to Australia to Turkey, and I've just tried to put together that collective knowledge and wisdom for this audience here today. So with that, I'm just going to kick off with my presentation. So we all know withering makes or mars the tea. This is the first lesson that I learned when I entered the tea sector some 22 years back. Withering is responsible for 85 to 90% of the quality of your finished product. It is not your rolling section, it is not your CEC machine, it's not the oxidation equipment, it's not the dryer, it's not the sorting system, it is actually withering. So if you get it right in your withering section, you're home and dry. So really, withering can really make or destroy the business. And that's what we'll be talking about in my presentation. This is just a little bit of textbook information, but I wanted to just share it to put the context for the presentation. In the new system of continuous withering, we are separating the process of chemical and physical withering. In the conventional mode, which is what we were doing earlier, we were doing simultaneous chemical and physical withering, correct? But in this new concept and in this new technology that I'll be talking about, we are separating the process of chemical and physical withering. And what exactly is chemical and physical withering? Chemical withering is responsible for changes in the chemical properties of the leaf, which eventually develops the laker quality of your tea. Whereas physical withering is responsible for the appearance of your tea. Chemical withering needs to happen under certain desired conditions of air management, which is pretty much temperature, RH, dry bulb temperature, static pressure. The objective of chemical withering is to achieve zero moisture loss. At least theoretically, we need to achieve zero loss of moisture. In an operational perspective, there will be a little bit of loss of moisture, maybe 1% or 1.5%, which is acceptable by the industry. But theoretically, what tea research tells us is that there should be no loss of moisture in the chemical withering section. The objective of physical withering is moisture reduction at a desired rate. like you to know that it needs to happen at a desired rate. It cannot happen at a very rapid rate. So these are the cardinal rules of withering. I'm just going to skip this slide. So the first point is when you're moving into continuous withering, you need to be very careful in terms of the static pressure of your fans. You remember in the conventional truck, we were loading tea at a depth of approximately 10 inches. If you look at the third row there, up to 10 inches or 250 millimeter. But in the continuous system, we are putting leaf at a height of approximately 60 inches or 1.5 meter. So the loading depth of leaf has actually increased by a factor of 6. Now, mathematically speaking, technically speaking, and engineeringly speaking, the static pressure of the fan in the new system must also increase by a factor of 6. So in the old system, we had fans of half-inch water column, which is 12 millimeter static pressure. In the new system, we need to move into 12 times 6, which is 72 millimeter of static pressure. This is extremely critical to keep your leaf fresh and cool and preserved in your chemical withering section. So this is what a chemical withering tank looks like. This is an actual photograph from a machine here in Kenya. On the left, you'll see an empty tank, okay, without leaf in it. That vertical height of the panel is about 1.8 meters, and the depth of leaf on the right is 1.5 meters. And this tank is holding about 25 tons of leaf inside it. These are just some photographs of the chemical withering tank. These are, again, some additional photos of the chemical withering machine. I'm just going to skip this slide very quickly. So this is what the fans look like on the new technology. You know, it has a very unique and a very high static pressure of 72 millimeters I was talking about. So these fans are positioned along the length of the machine, and then you blow air through the leaf stack height of about 1.5 meters. You remember I mentioned chemical withering needs to happen without loss of moisture. But if you have ambient conditions that are dry, it will invariably take out the moisture from the leaf. So how do you ensure that there is no loss of moisture in the chemical withering section? That happens by blowing humid air through the leaf. It is something similar to what we do in the oxidation machines in the CFUs or the COUs. You're blowing humid air through the leaf, so that's exactly what we are doing in the chemical withering section as well. So this is a system which has high pressure misting nozzles and a high pressure pump. So we take air and then we take water, we vaporize the water under high pressure so we get mist. Now ambient air mixes with the mist to produce humid air, and that's what we're going through the leaf. It's very important to know that you cannot add water directly to the leaf. You know, there are some factories in Kenya and elsewhere who are adding direct water to the leaf. Now that is not acceptable. You know, when you add direct water to the leaf, it invites bacterial contamination in the system. The leaf tends to stick to each other even more. It's difficult for the air to penetrate through. And if you add direct water to the leaf, then that means that additional moisture you need to knock off in your physical withering machine, thereby using more energy and more steam consumption. So we are not talking about adding water to the leaf, we are talking about blowing humid air through the leaf. This is just what the system looks like on an engineering system. Just very quickly, this is the misting action that we're talking about. This is blowing humid air through the leaf. Belt air, the physical withering machine. What is important is that your belt air in the CPW is directly linked to your dryer output. If you have a bigger dryer capacity, you need more belt area, you need to have more belt area for that moisture reduction to happen. Also, what's important is that in physical withering, the maximum process air temperature should not exceed 37 or 38 degrees C. Thereby, the leaf temperature should not exceed 33 or 34 degrees C. One of the concerns that we've experienced is that factories in Kenya and elsewhere are using very, very high temperatures in their CPW, and that is what is causing the scorching of the leaf. But how do you ensure that you can do your physical withering at lower temperatures? So there are various engineering methodologies technologies to ensure that the moisture reduction takes place at lower temperatures. So what we are suggesting and what we are advocating is that we need to give the team more time and lower temperatures in the CPW. Unfortunately, what we've seen happen here is that factories are rushing the leaf inside the CPW, at higher temperatures and less time. That will not work. So this is just a construction of the CPW. You have two fans, the radiator, you push air top bottom. As you see over there, the belt end is directly proportional to the dry output. We've seen factories installing different sizes of dryers, but the same sizing on the CPW, the physical wetering machine. Again, that is something that needs to be addressed. This is an actual photograph of another tea factory in Kenya. You can see the fans on the top, the radiator. The top part is completely insulated, and the belt area is of a certain configuration to ensure the moisture reduction takes place effectively. Again, just some photographs from some of the tea factories here in Kenya. This is Kapsara KTDA, by the way. It was the first factory here. It was the first factory within the KTDA that had continuous withering. So I've been asked to conclude my presentation, so maybe I'll just give my closing sessions. This is again a new concept on continuous withering. There's not much time right now, but what I really wanted to emphasize was the starting moisture and the ending moisture is the same on this particular graph that I've got here. Okay? But if you look at the dark blue line, which is right at the top, that will produce the best quality of wither for the simple reason you're giving that tea more time and less temperature. You still get the starting and the ending moisture the same, but in the light blue line, which is right at the bottom, you will not get the same quality of wither and the same quality of tea. I'm not sure if I have enough time to run this video. So this is, again, this is Kapsara, the leaf entering a chemical withering tank. Just showing conveyor systems on the continuous withering system. Again, some photos from machines that we've installed here in Kenya. In terms of energy, this is the delta that we are looking at. If you have a factory that does about 100,000 kgs on conventional trucks, you could check your figures, but it would be somewhere close to 450 horsepower of installed power on the old type conventional withering. But when you move into the new type, we've just done a factory in Uganda where we've done continuous withering of 100,000 kilos on 160 horsepower. For 150,000 kgs, you can see the figures there. So the reduction is more than 50% in terms of installed power. These are again some configurations. You can have your chemical machine on the bottom, the physical on the top, or vice versa. This is a fully automated factory showing two lines of CDC on continuous withering and the orthodox line fully on continuous withering. My last slide, this is a very unique concept that has already been tested and commissioned and validated in a tea factory in India by us. This is surface moisture removal of the leaf entering the chemical withering section. There's a lot of concern that what happens on a rainy day, when you have surface moisture on the leaf and that leaf comes inside your chemical withering tank. So we've already developed a system that has already been tested, commissioned and validated, wherein we are knocking off that surface moisture before it falls inside the CCW. So with that, I would like to close my presentation. Thank you very much once again for having me here. Mr. William Otari, really thank you for having me here as a speaker. And I have a little booth outside at the corner there, so if there are any questions or any challenging conversations, I'm happy to have that during the course of the day today and tomorrow. Thank you, and sorry for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nishant. I wish we had more time. But a round of applause for Nishant. And remember, he has a stand right outside there. You can visit his stand and get to learn more about what they have to offer to his next speaker, who will be speaking on behalf of Media Max Limited Chief Executive Officer Kenyan, we'll have George Nzwili, who is the head of digital channels. George, it's a pleasure to have you here today. You know, it's very hard when you're dealing with your boss right next to you. But what to say, welcome, and it's great to have you here today.
Thank you so much. As we set up, I kindly request you to get your mobile phones ready. We're going to have an engaging session, very short session, but engaging in terms of digital. So, kindly. All right. Members of the diplomatic corps, present and Mombasa County leadership, team industry stakeholders, event sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dabo. On behalf of Media Max Network, where I sit as the head of digital channels, I'm delighted to join you today at the K24 Summit as we mark K24 Centenary celebration. As we know, T is one of the largest GDP earners, a significant employer, and this of course translates to massive empowerment across various sectors of our communities. We are delighted to be partnered with CBK today. In terms of Media Max Network, we represent our core pillars, which are audio, video, text, and digital. We represent about 65 million interactions monthly across our different brands. We have 2 video channels, which are TV channels, 6 radio stations, and a print product, which is People Daily, which has recently transitioned to the People Daily News app. I think you can find it on Play Store and App Store. Our framework is represented by key pillars, which are digital content, internal creative, production, on-air talent, events and consumer engagement, as you clearly have witnessed with the partnership we are doing with the Team Board of Kenya. We go beyond selling reach to prioritize digital innovation and creative solutions to meet the ever-evolving demands of modern marketing. This is our overall reach on digital. We have about 15 million followers and found across about 50 pages of our brands. We have 30 million reach across our brands, 60 million video views monthly on average, and 3 million uniques at the least every month. Now, today's presentation on behalf of the CEO is on tech trends, e-commerce, digital marketing, and AI in promoting tea consumption. As requested, I hope you've gotten your phone out. I want us to scan something here quickly. I don't know if you're able to scan the QR code. Can you scan the QR code? And then you can just quickly give me the responses since you don't have a lot of time. The first question being, what does tea mean to you? I know for Tony the MC, tea means the Obade, but that is not what I'm referring to in the class. Alright, so what does tea mean to you? Yes, I'm waiting. You can also go to menti.com and use the code 72334828. Menti.com. Oh, happiness, joy, God, I like it. What else? What more? Refreshment. Apple service. Oh, every morning. That means, alright. You're doing very well. Very well. Peace, relaxation. Tears help, I love it. Alertness, wow, that's different. Dawa, oh, okay. Home, wow. Refresher. Thank you so much. Keep them coming. I'm going to request to go to the next question. Alright. your house. Don't lie. What about the children? You know the children in the house are not working for themselves. Alright. The fathers are really taking it. It's a tie. It's almost a tie between the father. Now it's a tie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. In the interest of time, allow me to go to the next one. Who makes the decision on what tea branch to buy in your house? No, don't say mother. What? Mother. Wow. Oh, the miss is there. Yeah, you said that you she's not here. Mother, there. Random, alright? Thank you so much. But it's a lot for the mom. Alright? So, we go on to the topic of the day. What comes to mind when you hear artificial intelligence? What comes to mind when you hear AI? No, don't you start to give the same answer. You all know that. Oof, laziness. Robots. Privacy, progress, computer, speed of decision. Gen Z. Ooh. Jobless. Computer programming. Wow, what it is. That's positive. Uncertainty. Future. Fast. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm happy to see that progressive and also, I'm an advocate for AI, so I would say other responses. Who here uses AI? Okay. No, nobody does use AI here. We are such a progressive crowd. We are not progressive. Oh, finally. Yeah, 50-50, all right. What do you use AI for? Ask us. What do you use it for? Assignments? Anything really? Wow, that must be a Gen Z. Research, wonderful. Marketing, saving time, fun, work, writing essays, data analysis, making tasks easier, fun, interpretation, technical development. Wonderful. In the interest of time, you'll allow me to move away from this presentation and go back to the main presentation. Alright, so, as we say, today we are going to be discussing very briefly. Of course, I'll try to, in the interest of time, to save as much time as possible. To talk about tech trends, e-commerce, digital marketing, and AI. So, the reason why we're talking about tech trends, e-commerce, and AI is because it presents an opportunity. An opportunity in terms of tea consumption for you to make tea great again. We have seen that there is a very huge gap between parents who consume tea and the children, but the next consumers are the young people. In the interest of time, I will go straight to the target. You're trying to reach the next generation of tea consumers by utilizing technology, digital marketing, and e-commerce. Don't forget that as much as there might be certain sentiments about some of this technology which are negative, we cannot ignore the fact that the next generation is savvy, educated, and very inquisitive. And people ask themselves, why should I care about tea? Is it healthy? Do I have other refreshment options? Is it supposed to have accompaniments? Is it innovative? Do I have different flavors of tea? Is it cool? Is it something that when my friends see me taking it, is worth me, pacing with? What is there? What is more? What is the why that I have to take tea? Right? You'll allow me to skip through some of the slides in the interest of time. And just quickly talk about digital marketing. In terms of the B2C conversations for you as producers, let's engage in content marketing and storytelling, because there are so many stories of origin, there are so many stories of flashbacks. I think all of you have gone through, okay, most of us have gone through that process for, you know, the past thing that when you get home, when your parent gets home, they will be taking tea, and you will in the process also be taking tea. If you're going to sell tea to a younger generation, what are we telling them is the culture that tea has had? Are we actually telling these stories, or do we just believe as an industry we have a product that should sell itself, right? Let's utilize influencer marketing, let's utilize social media engagement. Social media engagement is no longer a support function for most of the brands. It's actually a full body of marketing. It is the ambassador that everybody out of the new generation that you need as consumers engages with first when they look for your brand. Everybody hears your product first when they start online and they go to your social handles, right? Let's utilize push notifications, email marketing, customer relationship management systems. Let's utilize search engine optimization and blogging, and let's use interactive campaigns so that we can get our consumers who are way younger and more innovative and very tech savvy to interact. In terms of leveraging AI into consumption, let's try to use research, because we have to research on, no matter how good a product you have, you have to research on who your consumer is, you have to do research on the data, research on what other people who have succeeded in other countries, right? And AI can really help in terms of compiling that information for you. Let's use AI for powered personalization, because as you know, individuality right now is way easier. You have the data, you have the power. Let's use AI to get the right data so that we can personalize some of the products and also use the algorithms to better analyze our customers. Let's use chatbots and virtual assistants. Let's get feedback from our clients. Let's get consumers actually interacting with us. We have predictive analytics. When someone buys from your e-commerce platform, for example, you already have their data. Next time when they're coming in, you know what are they leaving or what else you can offer them, so that you keep on giving value to your company and to brands. AI content creation, for those of you who have brands that don't have content teams, this is something that you might want to explore so that we can also further how your brands look. Sentiment analysis is very important. Right now, you no longer have to wait to pay your research company for them to give you what your customers think about you. You can just analyze the sentiment across your brand and what customers are saying about you using AI, and ensure that you have the ear on the ground without having to struggle too much. And then, of course, we have to be very inclusive. So things like voice search optimization and making sure that you have accessibility options are very important so that any user can access you on digital. In terms of e-commerce strategies, I would quickly just say let's try and use direct to consumer platforms, which means bypassing in-shop experiences and trying to use the online experiences. Explore different consumer models, customizable products, multi-channel sales, and also explore everybody's into environment nowadays. And the young audiences are really into that. So the more eco-friendly you look, the better. Not just what you do, the better you are positioned. Due to the interest of time, when you are in an interaction, do find me and I can take you through this out. Thank you so much.
Another warm round of applause for George. Thank you so much, George. I wish you had more time because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the relation between media and this particular industry. He's talked about tapping into AI, doing your research and all your marketing needs. Remember, K24 TV is actually the main media partner here in this summit, and we truly appreciate for that. And so for all your marketing needs, kindly you can meet George. We also have a stand right outside, and you can be able to speak to some of my colleagues who will be able to show you how you can partner with us as a media partner. Well, without further ado, allow me to call our last speaker of the day. Remember, the Deputy President, Abraham Kiburu trying to rush the program so that his team can take over from 10:30. So the last speaker of the day is Sam from Williamson. And so when we are having Sam, he'll take approximately 10 minutes so that we can be able to allow the presidential team to take over. Welcome, George. Welcome, Sam from Williamson. We truly appreciate your time. 10 minutes.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be brief. I will give a very short brief on the highlights of the history of the industry in Kenya. I will also touch on the tea industry challenges as they are present, and I will also give comments on the actions that farmers, the tea board of Kenya, and the government need to consider for the industry to be sustainable. Yesterday we got a lot of history on what has happened to the tea industry from the last century. Around 1903, when the first tea bush was planted at Limuru. Thereafter, there was importation of seeds from India, and the first seeds were planted in Kericho in 1912, Sotik 1920, and Kaimoti 1925. Since that first planting, tea has been extended to Nandi, Meru, Embu, Kiambu, Murang'a, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Subukia, Mount Elgon, Cherangani Hills, Iten, Kisii, Nyamira, and other areas. Initially, it was grown on commercial farms, but later, tea was introduced to the indigenous Kenya at around 1950, and it was grown under the Special Crops Development Authority. The first farmers in that project were around Madera in Nyeri district. However, after Kenya got its independence, tea was now grown in all the other places that were just touched. The people of Kenya and Tea Research Institute were run with funds from commercial farms and small-scale farmers, and they were charged with specific duties, people to regulate the growing, Tea Research Foundation to carry out research and advise the emerging and existing farmers. We are privileged in Kenya to have very good growing weather conditions, good soils, well spread out rains throughout the year, apart from the months of March, January to March, when it's a bit dry. We are also privileged to be one of the countries, and probably the only country where our teas are pesticide-free, and we should use that property and unique quality in our teas to market our as healthy drinks free from any hazards. When you grow tea, then you have to move on to processing. By and large, processing, you can get a lot of types of tea, but in Kenya we are focused on CPC teas. The reason for that has been largely because they are also results in some of the cheapest teas you can get in the market, so we went to the mass market. But you can also make a lot of other types of tea if you so wish. Tea processing requires a lot of machinery, which is imported. It's sold in foreign currency, and therefore it's expensive. There has been a lot of changes in the processing machinery, the designs. At one time we were running CTC machines, which were 13-inch diameter. Now we have moved on. We have even bigger machines, and the future looks still set to change and adopt to the new technologies. However, in protein, we have had quite a lot of challenges. The latest being the huge stocks of unsold tea. There are very many taxes levied on the same product. There are a lot of fees and other charges. We have challenges with power supply. It fluctuates. And you know machines are designed to run on a certain voltage. So when there is a lot of power fluctuations, it raises a lot of inconsistency in manufacture. We have other major problems. One of them being the Tea Research Foundation is for now rather dormant. We have also over-relied on markets, traditional markets, and yet there are markets like China, India, where we are doing a lot of business with them. The government should consider marketing our teas by using those countries where we told the Chinese to do growth here, we should equally tell them you also buy 200, 300 million kilos of tea, and so forth. The way forward is on land, particularly on the commercial farmers. The leases will have to be renewed in line with the 2010 Constitution. We have to continue improving roads. The government should continue. We know taxes are important, but if you also overtax tea because it's bringing a lot of foreign exchange that killing the industry, the labor costs are very high. We have to brand and market Kenyan teas as Kenyan teas, not as just a production, and on the other end of the consuming countries, they are given other names. And because I've been pushing time, I will conclude by saying there is a future for the tea industry, but major steps do have to be taken by the producers, the government, and the regulators. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samthumi, and for trying to make that quick. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate that. Is Samthumi, who is the technical director, Williamson Tea Kenya. And well, ladies and gentlemen, it feels good to take that tea break, right? So we still have a whole lot of program lined up for you, an amazing program, because remember, today the Deputy President, Abraham Kithure Kindiki, will be here, will be joining us a little bit later, right after this break, actually. And that's why I will only request you to take the least time possible to take your tea so that we can settle up here back by 10:30. How about that? Yeah? It's just tea. Well, I hope the first session has been insightful. We've talked about the tech trends, new technologies in the tea sector, success stories. We are still going to talk about the success stories of the smallholder farmers from KTDA. But first, let's take that tea break and we'll be back. Thank you so much. Enjoy your tea.
Mr. DJ, Mr. DJ.
Blackie.
When the gas move, when the gas